Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Good. Okay, this is the,
It went out.
it went out?
Oh, there.
Is that better?
Thank you.
It is June 2nd, 2025. I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Las Vegas Clark County Library District Board of Trustees Risk Management Committee meeting to order, and it is 4:02 p.m. Ms. Nance, would you like to do roll call, please?
Sure. Chair Waugh. Trustee Dukowski.
Here.
Trustee Waugh.
Here.
And Trustee Foyt. You can go ahead.
All right, thank you. At this point, I would like to open it up for public comment. Do we have any public comment? Hearing and seeing none, we will move on to the next item. The committee action to, okay, so the, I'm sorry. So the agenda item, the next item is to accept the, we've already approved the minutes of the last meeting, is that correct? That was last year. Yeah, okay. Okay, new business.
And Madam Chair, I'll move to accept the agenda.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, call for the vote to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition? Okay, the next item is new business. And the item is discussion and possible committee action regarding a report from the district's broker regarding recommendation for contract award for property and casualty insurance and public officials and employee practices liability insurance for the policy year commencing on July 15, 2025. Go ahead.
Thank you. John Vino, General Services Director, for the record. I'm here with Brandon Lewis, our USI broker of record. I'll just read the background in, and then we have a question and answer period, and we'll talk a little bit about our insurance policies for this fiscal year. The district's property and casualty insurance and public officials and employment practices liability insurance policies renew on July 15th. USI Insurance Services, broker of record for the district, conducted a thorough review of the district's current policies and coverages and prepared a proposal insurance package and recommendation from contract board. The Board of Trustees Risk Management Committee is scheduled to meet with the broker of record prior to the board meeting for a presentation of the broker's proposal and to discuss staff's review and recommendation for contract award. The Risk Management Committee will bring forward a recommendation for contract award to the Board of Trustees at the June 13th meeting. So Brandon will talk a little bit more about the market. This fiscal year, at the board's direction, every 3 years, we bring our whole package out to full market review. We actually didn't get quite a few. We have some issues out in the market. We were declined for the most part, or they couldn't meet our need for a $20 million. We carry a $20 million umbrella policy, and we're seeing out in the market a lot of the insurance companies are limiting their exposure instead of gaining it. And best we were able on some of the other markets was a $5 million policy. So Travelers offered us a $20 million policy, which was our current policy. They wound up coming in at $516,547, which is about a 7.8 increase, which is probably under the market for public institution. So I'll bring up Brandon at this time to just talk about the marketplace in general and our policies and answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you, John.
Mhm.
Good afternoon. For the record, Brandon Lewis with USI Insurance Services, Director Watson, Chair Waugh, and members of the committee and board. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. The insurance marketplace has been challenging the last several years. We've seen significant increases in property rates. And then in the public entity world where our team specializes, we have seen increases in liability rates year over year, mainly for entities like cities, counties with law enforcement, since that's been a challenge in a lot of areas. But it's also been applied more broadly. As Mr. Vino mentioned, every 3 years, we do go out to a full market to request quotes from other carriers. There are a limited number of carriers for government entities in Nevada that are fully insured like the library district is. There's a handful of carriers that will consider it, but it really depends on whether it's a library, a fire district, water authority. We work with several of those. And it's kind of a niche market in that sense. But we did go out to a number of markets to discuss whether they can provide terms. Several of them include Liberty Mutual, Philadelphia Insurance Companies, and Zurich, and a couple others. And as Mr. Vino mentioned, one of the real drawbacks was we'll come to them because your pricing, of course, is on last year's board agenda. So we'll come to them and say, here's the current coverage, here's the expiring pricing. Can you compete? And unfortunately, a lot of these markets were able to look at that and say, we can't give you a $20 million umbrella. Maybe we can give you 5. Or they would say, there's no way we're going to even compete on last year's pricing. So the recommendation, of course, for your main carrier is to renew with Travelers, but wanted to give you a little more info on why it's in that sense a little bit limited. So that's a general on the marketplace. The overall renewal pricing is up about 8%. And that's consistent with what I'm seeing for other Nevada government entity clients, whether it's a fire district, water districts, and others. We're seeing liability rates trend up, I would say 8 to 15%. And so we push Travelers as your current and long-term carrier to stay at the lower end of the range. If there's going to be a rate increase, we want to make sure it's at the lowest possible. Property rates, for now have tempered. For a lot of entities that buy property insurance separately, like Clark County and others, some of them are seeing some rate decreases this year, but we're already starting to see that get pushback on that with losses from the LA fires that are now hitting reinsurers and kind of going through the system. Any questions so far?
I guess my only question would be, because I don't have last year's in front of me. So this 516, this represents about an 8% increase over what we were paying last time.
That's correct. Last year's
was almost a 14% increase. We had an increase in our overall exposure last year. With inflation and everything else, Travelers looked at our replacement value of our buildings, which hadn't really been updated. We were carrying, I think, $250 a square foot replacement, which was probably below market. So we had a very, I think it was almost a $60,000 increase last year because we had to agree to bring it up to somewhat market. I believe it was around $430 per square foot replacement value for our building. So our overall value went up to, I think our overall value is just under $345 million is our total exposure for the district. So that's been climbing as well at about 3% a year. So that was a little bit why our insurance last year and the bigger increases that we're seeing.
Thank you. Last day up.
So we also have 14 policies, just to talk a little bit more. It's not just the Travelers. It's and we're happy to go real quick through the individual policies so you have an idea of what they are and what the coverage is, if anybody's interested, and having us go into that much detail. Yes.
I'm good if you are, Madam Chair.
I'm good too.
Okay. I don't want
Thank you.
to. Without any other questions, we're
Yeah,
happy to read the final motion and bring it to the full board if risk management's
So,
satisfied.
Madam Chair, I'll move to recommend to the Board of Trustees that a contract for property and casualty insurance and public officials and employment practice liability insurance be awarded through USI Insurance Services, Travelers, Cowbell, Chubb Federal, Lloyd's of London, Great American, Indian Harbor, and Atlantic Specialty at an annual premium not to exceed $516,701 for the new policy year commencing on July 15th, 2025, subject to final review by council.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing and seeing no opposition, this item passed. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Need public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have any public comment?
Not at this time, but I do want to, for the record, we have Trustee Rogers and Trustee Whiteley also joining the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Nance.
Madam Chair, move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned at 4:13 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Do we stay on this or do we re-enter for the next one?
Stay on, please.